Valentine's Day is coming, and since we chefs know that there's no love more sincere than the love of food, today I'm preparing food that we love for the people that we love. I'm Michelle Cupid Bernstein. It's Valentine's Day here on SoFlo Taste. This is South Florida. It's where I live and work. I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein. South Florida is more than sun, sand, and sea. It's a lifestyle of fashion, sound, culture, and of course, food. Food with taste from all over the world. Join me as we celebrate the food of South Florida and the people who love it. Join me as we experience SoFlo Taste. Hello, I'm Michelle Bernstein and happy Valentine's Day. This is the one day that we all turn a bit sappy and sentimental with the flowers, the candy, with the dinner reservations. But I'm here to tell you the flowers and the candy are okay, but you don't have to make dinner reservations because I'll be your Cupid. So let's get cooking. Have you ever made shrimp scampi? Because it's the easiest thing to do at home. It's delicious. And if you don't eat shrimp, you can turn anything into a scampi. I'm gonna do a tiny, tiny little twist on this scampi recipe. I have some shrimp shells because we peeled the shrimp ourselves. We got them at, they're really beautiful, at Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. These are gorgeous pink shrimp. They're really beautiful. Because I peeled them myself, I asked for them with a shell on. I've taken the shell, sauteed them in a little bit of olive oil, and then just covered them with a little bit of water. So we're gonna have the full flavor of the shrimp with the shell. You don't have to do it. I'm gonna show you the recipe, and if we wanna add that shrimp broth from the shells, we'll do it. What we're gonna do is saute the shrimp with a little bit of garlic. So I have olive oil and a little butter, and once that butter all melts and foams up, we're gonna add the shrimp to the pan. So instead of mincing the garlic, which is done in most scampi recipes, I've gone ahead and sliced it really, really thin using a Japanese mandolin, but you can also use a really sharp knife if you want to. And we have some chopped Italian parsley, some red crushed chili flakes, and then a little bit of white wine and lemon. So I'll add the shrimp to the pan. Go ahead and cook all of it. I never do, but might as well. And at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and add the garlic. I guess you could say it's about a full tablespoon of that sliced garlic. If you want to go ahead and use minced garlic, same thing, full tablespoon. And as the garlic and the shrimp cook together, it's all going to flavor that garlic just beautifully. I'm going to add some salt to that shrimp. And I don't want to overcook the shrimp. It's probably the most important part of cooking a very successful scampi. So scampi actually means shrimp in Italian. Now I'm serving this over some crispy toast, but it also goes beautifully with pasta. But this is my first course for my Valentine. So I'm going to serve it just with some little crisps. I'm removing the shrimp from the pan so that they don't overcook, and then I'll make a sauce in the pan. Putting it back, adding some red pepper flake to it, and then some dry white wine. Make sure that white wine is not a fruity white wine. And if I were you, I would use a white wine that you would want to serve that evening, something nice to go with the shrimp. Shake it up a little bit, and we're going to let that reduce down with a little bit of fresh squeezed lemon. Lovely. Now this won't take long, so don't walk away from it. Now because I went ahead and I made that shrimp broth, I'm just going to use a little bit of it to give it that extra shrimp flavor that I'm looking for. But again, this is totally optional. You don't have to do it. Just a little bit. And we're going to let that come down and thicken it with a little bit of butter when it's time. You have some nice baguette crisps here. This is a nice thin shard of baguette bread, which we've cut nice and thin, drizzled it with a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper, and then put it between two cookie sheets and baked it in the oven at about 300 degrees. Takes about 10 minutes. Just keep checking it, see that you get a nice golden color. And this is going to be the base to my scampi. I'm going to put about 3 pieces down on a little dish. Okay, it's nice and reduced. If you can see how it's gotten kind of syrupy looking, see how it's thickened a bit? You can see that there's some viscosity in there. So now I'm just going to add a little bit of butter to thicken it even more, and some fresh parsley. And this is when the shrimp go back in, and whatever juices are in that bowl. So you want everything to get nice and thick and nice and warm, and it's ready. So take your shrimp and all of its juices and put it right over the crouton, because what you're hoping to do is get that crisp crouton just covered in that butter sauce, and it soaks it all up, and you get all that flavor down in that crouton. And there you have it. Shrimp scampi alla mishi for your beloved. SoFlo Taste will return right after this. Welcome back to SoFlo Taste here at our home in the Publix Aprons Cooking School in Plantation. Why not gift someone one of their cooking classes for Valentine's Day? Just visit Publix.com for more information. Moving on with our Valentine's Day show. This is something my husband asked me to make. He wanted a wedge salad with blue cheese dressing and a seared filet mignon. I know it's simple, but that's what the husband wants, and that's what the husband's gonna get. So to make the wedge salad, I am gonna do a wedge of iceberg. I love this salad too. I think it's like the best steakhouse salad, especially with a lot of bacon on it. So a nice clean wedge or two of iceberg lettuce, about like so. And then let's make some blue cheese dressing. I've got a little bit of mayonnaise, some sour cream, a little bit of buttermilk, some crumbled blue cheese. This is Maytag American Blue, but you can use whatever it is that you like. A tiny little hint of red wine vinegar, salt and pepper. And mix that up really, really good. Now, at the same time, I'm gonna go ahead and start searing my steak, because this is all gonna go well, really, really well together. I love blue cheese dressing, the iceberg, the tomatoes, the steak, kind of all in one. So I've got some good cooking oil, not a fancy olive oil, as well as some butter. I've got these gorgeous filet mignons, maybe a little big for me to eat, but perfect for David. These are about 8 to 9 ounce filet mignons. They are from Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. And I'm just going to season them pretty heavily with salt and pepper. And this is freshly ground pepper. We just ground it this morning. Once the butter melts, go ahead and add your filet to the pan. And what's great about filet mignon, you can kind of walk away and come back every once in a while. I'm not gonna go in the oven with it. I'm gonna finish the whole cooking process right out here. Not too worried about it. I want it to get a good solid crust on it. So I'm just gonna kind of leave it to do its thing. All right, moving on. I've got these gorgeous heirloom tomatoes. I'm gonna go ahead and cut them in all kinds of different shapes. And I use different colors. And put them down and around the iceberg. Then I go ahead and I dress the lettuce and the tomatoes with the blue cheese dressing. So nice creamy dressing. If you don't like blue cheese dressing, the boys love ranch dressing as well. So you can do that instead. All right, so when you go to serve the salad, I have big pieces of bacon that we made nice and crispy in the oven, just like so. I've got beautiful herbs that would go really well with the salad. Let me check on my fillets real quick. Beautiful. They're almost ready to turn over. And I think people don't do that. I think people start flipping their fish and steaks way too early. You gotta just leave it, okay? Just leave it alone. It'll be fine. You're not gonna burn it as long as you don't walk like away into another room. You'll be perfectly fine. The heat's on medium-high. I've got a great cast iron skillet here. It's gonna hold the temperature beautifully. You're okay. Just stay close, but don't keep watching over it too much. All right, so back to the salad. I have some cut chives, some nice fresh picked dill, and some picked parsley. And I just turned a simple wedge salad into something even prettier and more fresh and delightful, just with a few herbs on it. Now, this part you don't have to do, but this is something that I did a lot at the restaurants and I love. I freeze a little piece of blue cheese. It's just so that I can use a microplane on it, so that I can have little tiny shards of blue cheese on top of my salad. So you freeze it first, and then you take it along a microplane, because if you can't do this with non-frozen soft blue cheese. Blue cheese will melt in your hand before you even get it on the salad. So the only way to take it on a microplane is to freeze it ahead of time. And I just keep it in the freezer and pop it out anytime I want to do that. All right, so it's time to flip our steaks. See how beautifully golden they are? That is truly the color and the sear that you want to get a nice crisp exterior and a nice juicy interior. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and make a little mustard sauce in my pan. What I do is take some really good quality Dijon mustard and put one layer, a very thin layer, right on one side of the filet. Then I've got a little bit of beef broth that's been here reducing down about 75% of the way. So it's got a little bit of viscosity to it, and then we'll make a sauce out of that. I want to serve these a good medium rare, so I'm going to flip them over one more time so I can really get that mustard seared off. And I want it to pick up any of the butter that's down below. Flip it back over, and then I'm going to add the broth to it. I want these two to sit out a little bit and let them stay at their nice temperature. Add a little bit of butter to my pan. Swirl it in. And now I have a nice sauce in the pan. I'm going to throw a thyme sprig and a rosemary sprig in there, just to get a little flavor on it. Beautiful. And then pull it out. So these fillets are a beautiful medium rare. This is how I would serve one. Take a little bit of this juice in the pan. Spoon it right over the top. And I think that he's going to be in seventh heaven. So there you have it. A simple filet mignon with mustard sauce, and his favorite wedge salad with grated blue cheese and chunks of bacon and heirloom tomatoes. The only thing I think I need is some big old sea salt, and for you to come back to try my dessert.
SoFlo Taste is going on the road and you can join us. On Saturday, March 4th, Chef Michelle Bernstein and the SoFlo Taste Roadshow will be at Carnival on the Miles Cork and Fork in the city beautiful Coral Gables. Come be an audience member and see Michelle in person and maybe get a tasty sample of her work. She'll be hosting an episode of SoFlo Taste beginning at 1 p.m. For more information and tickets, go to SoFloTaste.com. Proceeds will benefit the Kiwanis of Little Havana Foundation.
I'd love to see you there.
So, again, be part of Chef Michelle's audience and the SoFlo Taste recording on Saturday, March 4th at 1 p.m. at Carnival on the Miles Cork and Fork in Coral Gables. For tickets and all the info you need, go to SoFloTaste.com. Proceeds will benefit the Kiwanis of Little Havana Foundation. Now back to Chef Bernstein as she takes aim with Cupid's bow and arrow on Valentine's Day.
Welcome back to SoFlo Taste and our Valentine's Day show. So this is an oldie but a goodie, one that you've probably eaten a million times over at restaurants, but have you ever made a molten chocolate cake at home? This recipe is perfect. It works every single time. And thank you to Chef Jean-Georges for creating this recipe many moons ago. And all of us have all copied it and either changed it or not, but it's a good recipe. So on the stove, I had some bittersweet chocolate and some butter until it melted. This was just over a little bain-marie. In a mixer, I'm gonna add whole eggs along with egg yolks, and some sugar, and just mix it until it becomes nice and light in color. I'm going to add a pinch of salt to it for flavor. I like to add sea salt. And remember, these Valentine's Day recipes are available online at SoFloTaste.com and on our Facebook page. Once that turns a nice lighter color, I'm going to go ahead and add just a tablespoon and a half to 2 tablespoons of flour, and then I'm going to go ahead and mix in the chocolate. Once that just comes together, you're going to go ahead and butter and flour some little ramekins, nice small little dishes. You can use foil if you want to discard them after we're done. These come in like aluminum as well. You're going to want to use a ladle and fill each ramekin up about 3/4 of the way up the ramekin. And what's great about this recipe is you don't have to put it in a bain-marie in hot water in the oven, which a lot of recipes call for. This is just a simple recipe that you put right into a very hot oven at 450 degrees. 10 minutes later, only 10 minutes later, you get these beautiful hot chocolate cakes, and let's make sure that they are molten on the inside. I always serve this with vanilla ice cream. You can do whipped cream as well, but you've got a hot cake, so you want some vanilla ice cream to go with it. Thank you. So I'm using vanilla bean. So let's see if they're molten. They're still nice and warm. Ah, love you. So you can serve it with a little scoop of vanilla ice cream right on the side. But the most important part of all this is the ooze factor. So when you cut into your molten lava cake, that's exactly what you want to see. Come right back. Thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate you taking the time. I hope this SoFlo Taste has helped you get ready for Valentine's Day. Remember, the way to your Valentine's heart is through their stomach. If you didn't see the whole show today, you can see it anytime at SoFloTaste.com or again tomorrow night at midnight. Next Saturday, we celebrate those guys on your money with President's Day. I'll get you ready for the celebration with some great all-American recipes. Now stay right where you are because SoFlo Home Project is next. Good morning, Martin.
Hi, Michelle. I know you can never go wrong with a romantic dinner on Valentine's Day, but love can be celebrated in many ways, even with design. Coming up on SoFlo Home Project, we help a newlywed couple fall in love with their first home together as they begin a new chapter in their lives as Mr. and Mrs. Don't miss it.
Great, Martin. We'll stay tuned. So, Taste Buds, have a great Valentine's Day with all your Valentines, and I'll see you next Saturday. Bye-bye. Mwah. Be my Valentine.